Well, John, first I'll say congratulations, because I think the achievement of writing a book, whatever it's about, whatever the subject matter is tremendous. And for it to be about 50 years following Derby County is probably even more remarkable. Why did you decide to write it in the first place?
Well, I retired from work in 2020. It was just really on my bucket list. Obviously, this has sort of been a massive part of my life, right from a young boy. And it was just the sort of subject I probably know more about than anything else in the world. So, yeah, give it a go.
How long had it been an aim for you to write?
Well, when I was in the sort of last year at work, obviously you think about things, what you're going to do when you retire. And I thought, no, I'm going to start it. And I think COVID obviously pushed it forward. So I started in November 2020, and it took me 7 months, and I was on it 6-7 hours a day. Obviously, on a laptop, it's quite difficult. You know, you're sort of thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead what you're going to write. Obviously, you make mistakes and all that, so it's just a pain keep going through it. But it worked out in the end, and it's out there now.
And obviously, it's 50 years of Derby County through your eyes. It's your journey, but as a sort of record of the club and results and managers and players, it's fantastic. Is that all from memory? Because there's a lot of detail in there.
Yeah, a lot of it is, yeah. I basically buy programmes from wherever I go, because I think I've seen Derby on 106 grounds now, starting back from, I think my first away game was 74. But yeah, I've got quite a good memory, and it's just sad really, I suppose.
Were there bits where you had to, I don't know, talk to friends, talk to other supporters to fill in the gaps?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of research online for obviously. There's chunks of years where I'm thinking, God, I can't remember any of this. Yet there's other spells where I can remember it like yesterday sort of thing. So, and I was we've got a WhatsApp group with my mates, and obviously I said, oh, did you go to Brighton on that Tuesday night? Did you go to Southend on that Tuesday night? And yes or no, and it just built it up like that, really. Yeah,
tell me more about the WhatsApp group. They're mentioned in the foreword by Martin Fisher straight away.
Yeah, they're the Michigan Old Boys, so obviously we set up a football club when we left school in 1980-81, and called Michigan Dynamo. We played in the City League. Basically, it was just that group of friends, really, who sort of stuck together through thick and thin watching Derby. And we did lose contact in the 90s, but on my 50th, 10 years ago, we all sort of reunited, and we go to the games together since, you know. So, yeah, good reunion, yeah. Looking
back over the 50 years so far, what are the highlights for you as a Derby County supporter?
Obviously, winning the league in 74-75. The European nights. I think I've been very lucky and very privileged to actually see every European match at the baseball ground. Yeah, we used to stand on the Normanton paddock with my dad. Had to get there at 5:30 with a little stool. But yeah, they were just magical nights, and I was a massive fan of the European Cup. The Champions League, not so much. I think it's just a lot of meaningless group games, and I think it's pretty obvious who's going to qualify. So that was a major highlight. Obviously, the promotions, especially the '96 season, you know, the Jim Smith team, where nobody really gave us much of a chance. But obviously we signed Igor, we had Sturridge up front, and I think they were the 2 key players in that team that got us forward.
Looking back and writing the book, were there any players or managers or moments that you've sort of changed your view on, changed your opinion on?
No, I think Phil Brown was very unlucky. I think he had the right credentials, but I think he was at the right man at the wrong time. I think if he'd come with different ownership, I think he might have actually done it, but I think he just lacked a bit of inexperience, and I think that cost him. George Burley, absolutely loved George Burley. I think it was a very sad day when he left, obviously with the ownership with the 3 amigos, but he was building a really good side, you know, the likes of Idiaka and Razak, Tommy Smith. That was a really good side. And I'm also a big fan of Nigel Clough. I think he did an absolutely tremendous job. Came in, you know, he really swept up the mess left by Billy Davis and Paul Joel. I think he inherited 40 players, something like that. Obviously, I think he had one or two of his signings didn't sort of fit in, but he basically created that playoff team, which, as well, know, we should have gone up, shouldn't we, on that fateful day against QPR.
What's been the feedback and reception for the book from those that have read it so far? Yeah,
fairly positive, yeah. Just people say, how do you remember all this sort of stuff? But like I said, if you're very sad at that sort of thing.
And do you think you'll keep going and update it and maybe bring out a second edition, or you'll see?
Well, obviously the last game in the book was the 3-3 draw against Sheffield Wednesday during the COVID season, because it basically took 2 years to get over the line. But I think I could write a book on the past 2 years. You know, there's been so much happened, hasn't there, to this club in the past 2 years. But I don't know. Cricket's another passion of mine, so I might do something cricket-wise. But I've not been to the amount of matches that obviously have been to, football.